All right, Josh, thanks for hopping on the channel to talk really quick. Good to have you here.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
All right, so just jumping right in, who are you and what do you do?
Yep. So my name's Josh Ryan. I'm a 22-year-old here in New Zealand that has pretty much spent the last 7 or 8 years building accounts on Instagram, building and monetizing in accounts. And in the past three and a bit, maybe 4 years, have had my own agency doing that exactly that for clients. And have also used a personal brand on social media to try and generate clients.
Awesome. So we got started around the same time then. So like 2015 is about when you got started with Instagram.
Yeah. 2015, I think.
And this is a question I always get asked. So I'm curious to ask you is what made you decide to start at 15 in 2015?
It start with Instagram specifically, or just with entrepreneurship in general.
Just with entrepreneurship or and also Instagram.
I mean, I'd always been doing stuff like entrepreneurial. Like I had a vending machine when I was like 9, which was like my first thing. Um, I don't know. I just got encouraged to like sort of if you wanted something to go out there and find a way to make it happen. And we didn't have heaps of money. So like it was always trying to get creative ways that you could make a bit of an income. And then I think I just saw like social media and just started just playing around on Instagram for a bit of fun, reached out to a guy that had more followers than me, asking if he could just, shout out my page to help me grow. And then he turned around and he's like, yeah, sure, but it'll be like $50. And I was like, wait, hang on a minute. You're getting paid to do this. And from that point, I just found out there was this whole business behind the scenes and just got really intrigued by it and pretty much just have been studying it ever since.
That's awesome. We had a pretty similar start in two senses. I started with the Instagram feed page as well, but I also had a
Hmm.
vending machine business at the same time. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah,
did that actually go well for you?
it did. In New Zealand, I think it works a little bit different to overseas because you have to have like zones for it, and you have to have own that zone. But we lived in this tiny little place, like outside of any zone, so we were able to get one. But then when we moved, had to get rid of it. So it was good side income, couple grand a year, I think, which at 9, 10, 11 is ridiculous. So yeah,
Yeah,
was pretty happy.
you could recoup the cost of machines in like the first year too. I mean, they're a good investment, especially if you have someone to manage them if you have enough of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had mine through Coca-Cola, and they don't actually charge you. They will ship you the vending machine,
Oh wow,
and as long as you're stocking it with their stuff. So yeah, you didn't even have to pay for it as long as you paid for stock up front.
that's interesting. I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
moving like to Instagram. So obviously you found out okay, you get paid for shout outs, promotions. So I'm guessing your first clients were ones that you were also charging for promotions when you had grown your pages as well.
Yeah, so that's probably the first way I monetized the account was just selling promotions to people. So it wasn't so much of like a service of running their accounts. That sort of came later. It just started out as yeah, someone just pays you $30 to post about their brand or their product or so on.
Sweet. Yeah, that's the same way I got started. I'm curious, how did you find those people? Did you email them? Did you DM them? Did they come to you organically?
Some of them would come to me organically, and others you would just go out there and pretty much just look at who was buying ads on similar accounts and flip them a DM and say, hey, I saw you're buying shout outs in this niche. Would you be interested? There were also big groups. I don't know if you remember where like
Yeah.
there'd be like a group of like 30 accounts and someone would be selling promos for like a 5 million network and everyone gets paid. So that was cool as well.
Back on GroupMe. Were you on GroupMe?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
We
am
probably
trying to
talked
remember
there.
the name of the groups. There's like the Instagram business group on GroupMe. That was the big one I was in.
Yeah. I don't remember the names to be honest. I remember there was a guy Live Now Success, I think, that had a big group where you could buy them, and I think Founder had some big groups as well.
I remember Founder. They were like one of the OGs of Instagram growth.
Yeah, yeah.
So at what point did you start transitioning more to an agency model as opposed to just one-off promotions?
It was probably at the point where I finished high school and I sort of gave myself a year where I was like try and do this online thing full time. And I'd done a bunch of things, like I'd done a little bit of agency stuff, I'd done drop shipping, affiliate marketing, and I was like, I would just pick one thing and focus on that. And that was the agency. And so I guess I just decided that was going to be the one thing I'd focus on for the next 6-12 months, and pretty much just went for it from there.
That's cool. So with the agency, is the main focus helping people grow on Instagram, or what is the main service you're promoting?
Yeah, so it's definitely evolved a little bit. Like originally it was just growth and that was all that I was focused on. But as I've learned more about like, digital marketing and so on, now it's become a bit of growth, but also monetizing, because it doesn't matter if you gain a ton of followers if it's not, turning into an income.
Yeah, that makes sense, definitely. So are your clients people who are growing theme pages or more of brands, entrepreneurs? Like who is your ideal client?
We a bit of both. So we do work with theme pages and help monetize them. Because I've got my own theme page still. And so we can pretty much just replicate that same process for clients. And get that similar sort of network effect where we're managing 3 or 4 or 5 accounts and, can sell promotions on all of them. But we do also work with a few like coaches, consultants, agencies we could work with, but don't work with many, helping them, get customers through Instagram.
Awesome. So if you don't mind asking, how many current clients do you have in your agency?
So at the moment we're working with not a huge amount, but it's about 10 at the moment that we're running. And then really going to try and scale that up this year. Again, give it a lot more focus.
Sweet. So in terms of getting clients, would you say that your YouTube channel has been one of the main places that you've been able to land clients, or is it still through Instagram organic?
It would definitely mostly be through YouTube's all right. Referrals is probably the biggest one, to be honest. Just people referring it. YouTube is probably good for if I had a wider target that I was serving, but same, we pretty much just work with like business theme pages that are already a couple 100,000 plus followers, as well as like specific coaches and services and so on. We get a lot of people who aren't in those niches. So if I had like quite a general social media agency, like I would be getting ridiculous amounts of clients from YouTube, because I get a lot of them reach out, but it's like, don't really have anything for you. Sorry.
Yeah. And I remember you mentioned you have an info product that you sell on the YouTube channel as well, right?
I used to, but now I just do it all for free. And then we have the services, and I do a bit of consulting as well on the back end for people that don't really fit the services.
Okay, sweet. So one question I love to ask agency owners is obviously getting clients is really important, but if you really want to scale, client retention is huge, because it's much easier to keep stacking people as opposed to always getting in new leads and new clients. What would be one of the main things you found that has helped you keep client retention high?
I think it's pretty much just getting results for the client. Like is probably the majority of it. Like all the other things are kind of like they help, but at the end of the day, if you're not getting results, like the client's not going to stick around no matter how nice you are or how good your presentations look. So
sure,
that's probably the main part of it. And just consistency and the results that we're delivering, like just consistently getting better and better for them.
So the main metrics those results are based on for you is how well can you monetize a page and how fast can it grow? Is that correct?
Yeah, a bit of both. Because you want to sort of balance. You can get too aggressive trying to monetize, which can sometimes slow down the growth. But you also don't want to just grow and not make anything. So it's a balancing act between the two, pretty much.
It's cool. And right now, is it just yourself, or do you have a team as well that helping you with the agency?
So it's myself and then a good team of contractors. We don't have anyone that's like on a full-time salary position, but a lot of pretty much everything's outsourced. So I've got contractors that help with the management, with the content, with selling the promotions or selling the products, etc. But and I sort of just oversee things and bring on clients and handle that side of things.
Are most of your contractors based in Asia?
Mostly, yes. But then there's a couple in between Europe and South Africa.
Okay, so I was gonna say, with your time zone in New Zealand, I feel like Asia is actually pretty convenient.
Yeah, it is actually quite handy. Although it's like most of my clients are in the US, so in the mornings in New Zealand, I can talk to the clients, and then in the afternoons, I can talk to the contractors. So it's like I wake up, hear from the clients, message the contractors what needs to be changed, etc. And then it's like they're doing shifts almost.
Yeah, I feel like New Zealand, Australia are kind of awkward of managing clients. I mean, I'm in Asia, so for me, it's like at 7 p.m. I start talking to clients, but I have the whole day before. So it is kind of nice when you have like time when your clients aren't online, because it's really easy to not get distracted by emails or Slack messages. So it can be quite nice.
Yeah, 100%.
So in terms of your goals with your agency and your personal brand, is the goal to just keep growing the agency and the personal brand? Do you want to eventually exit the agency? Do you want to transition to software? Like, what are your short-term plans as well as long-term plans?
At the moment, I want to build the personal brand and probably get better at really systemizing the agency, because I think that's been the main bottleneck to stop it from growing like crazy, has been the lack of really good systems and hiring the right people to sort of manage that side of things, which is just probably something that I need to learn and get better at doing. So I want to really systemize that and then really grow the personal brand. And I think by having better systems, I can probably offer more services, which means the personal brand will be able to bring in a lot more clients for the agency. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think I'll get into software anytime soon. I feel like that's a whole nother beast that very, very few people do well at. But yeah, maybe one day. But yeah, I like how it's going for now.
Yeah, more services makes sense. I mean, especially if you can leverage your audience more. You got a really big audience, so yeah, it definitely makes sense. My company's gotten huge in automation and systems last year. We have like 3,000 zaps that run a month in Zapier. And it's so cool to see all the things that we just don't have to do on a daily basis. In fact, if you're ever interested, I can even run you through some of them. It's like the amount of stuff that happens without doing anything, it makes it so much easier to grow.
It's like looking at a big like production line almost, but it's all digital stuff. But yeah, that'd be awesome to look at. And
instead of 15 people doing tiny tasks, you have one person who sets up the task and fixes them when they break. So it's much more scalable. Yeah. Well, awesome. I really appreciate you hopping on. I like to just hear these quick stories on what you're doing and obviously how you're growing. So one last question for you is, where could someone listening go to learn more about yourself?
Probably YouTube's probably the best place if you want a lot of helpful content. So just Josh Ryan on YouTube or Josh Ryan on Instagram as well. I don't post as much on my personal Instagram, but still a bit of behind the scenes stuff there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Josh. I'll go ahead and put your links in the description.
No worries. Thanks for having me.